I want to bring in RonNell Andersen Jones now. She's a law professor at the University of Utah, First Amendment scholar, as well as a former newspaper reporter and editor. So you know a lot about this case and all of the different implications legally and also journalistically. I appreciate you being here. So there's a tweet from former Fox News host Gretchen Carlson that caught everyone's attention. She said, "Please, Dominion, do not settle with Fox. You're about to prove something very big." What are the chances of a settlement here?
Well, my guess is that after a bruising week of pretrial losses last week, Fox is maybe much more incentivized to try to bring about a negotiation and a settlement. The question here is whether Dominion is incentivized in that way. We've seen from the very beginning of this case that Dominion seems to be quite motivated to litigate it in a very public-facing way, almost to make it a referendum on the wider problem of election denialism and the even broader problem of disinformation in the American political space. And so absent, I think, a lot of concessions, not just dollars, but also things like acknowledgments and apologies, I'm guessing that Dominion wouldn't be interested in moving in that direction because of those broader social goals.
So Fox says the $1.6 billion in damages is unrealistic. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the damages stage doesn't come until after the liability stage, so we wouldn't pivot to thinking about that evidence in great depth until towards the end of a several-week trial. It is very common for plaintiffs to anchor a number high and then to litigate it downward from there. And I do think that that's a major piece that Fox is banking on, that even if liability is shown, the value of this voting machine company won't be as high as it's suggested that it is. One of the things that's really complicated about this is that this isn't a single incident of one libelous comment. It's 20 separate instances, many of which were said after the company was already alerted by Dominion of the error. And so that may well compound the jury's willingness to issue damages that are significant.
And the reason I asked that is because I wondered what the likelihood that Dominion would knock off some of what they're initially asking for financially for the case to proceed.
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't know what kinds of conversations are happening behind the scenes, both on the dollar front and on the other asks that might be happening here. It does seem to me like Dominion has recognized that it's a rare defamation case in which the weight of the evidence seems to be in Dominion's favor. Juries are unpredictable beasts, so it's risky for both of these parties to be moving forward. But Dominion is probably moving forward with more confidence than we would ordinarily see a plaintiff have in a major case against a media outlet.
I have a lot of faith in the justice system, but now in today's day and age, we think about politics sort of bleeding into everything. So I asked that with that caveat. I'm asked this next question. I want to talk about the jury pool. So it's been selected from an area that is overwhelmingly blue, voted for Biden in 2020. Should Fox's legal team be concerned about that at all?
I think lawyers are always concerned about what they might be getting in the jury pool, and you have to be, particularly in a case like this that is so socially and politically fraught, and that is all bound up in really judgment calls by the jury about whether there was knowing falsity or not. It's a state of mind kind of case. I mean, Delaware is a state that sent Joe Biden to the Senate for decades and decades, and so that geography of the situation probably does cut against Fox in some significant ways. I would imagine that that's a thing that they're keeping in mind as they're analyzing whether they can make settlement happen.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.